Great Debate Show. Your host, Jarvis Jeffries, one half of the good guys. That's what they call us, because I'm back, better than ever, up in this bitch. And I want to talk about some of the breaking news that's just went on in the NBA. A couple of head coaches are fired. You know, they just firing people all willy-nilly. You also got, a general manager, David Griffin, with the New Orleans Pelicans. He's just been fired. And head coach of the Phoenix Suns, well, former head coach, Mike Budenholzer. He has been fired as well on, I guess, NBA Black Monday. You knew it was coming. This NBA season is officially over. And so we've got two people fired. Mike Budenholzer, one and done in Phoenix with the Suns. This makes 3 years in a row now that the Phoenix Suns are replacing their head coach. And then you've got David Griffin, general manager or whatever he is now, whatever role he had as an exec with the New Orleans Pelicans. He's now out also in New Orleans. Now, if you don't remember David Griffin is, he's been in New Orleans for a while now. He used to be in Cleveland back in the day. Like the first stint that LeBron had with the Cavs, he was their general manager. And of course they had, they didn't have an NBA Finals appearance, but they went as far as LeBron would take them back then. And now fast forward down the road, David Griffin was in New Orleans, and he's been there for 6 seasons now. The record, for David Griffin was 209 and 263. He was 209 and, the Pelicans were 209 and 263 in 6 seasons under Griffin with 2 postseason appearances. Keep in mind that the Pelicans fired executive VP. That's what he was, executive VP. He used to be general manager. David Griffin. Griffin traded Anthony Davis to the Lakers, and he drafted Zion Williamson. Both of those things occurred in 2019. That's what he's known for or remembered for during his time with the New Orleans Pelicans. So it's a wrap there. What are the Pelicans going to do? Are they going to move? Who are they going to move to next to be their executive VP? Who is their general manager? Will that person be replaced as well, or did David Griffin oversee all of that? All of that remains to be seen, but Zion Williamson did not work out, or it has not worked out as far as his inability of availability, which is the reason why he's being fired right now. If he was putting up 30 a night every night, being consistent and playing more, he probably would still have his job. And again, Anthony Davis, he traded them to the Lakers. They won a championship immediately after that, that first year in 2020. So that's it. David Griffin is out with the Pelicans, and Budenholzer is out with the Suns. That's one and done. And I want to say something about that. And when I get done with that, I'm going immediately to Louis Riddick. Louis Riddick's comments, ESPN analyst, former NFL scout and director of personnel some years back, before we started to see him on television more on ESPN. He made a statement saying that Cam Ward has a playing style that reminds him of Patrick Mahomes. That's right. Louis Riddick compares Cam Ward's playing style to Patrick Mahomes, and I can't wait to get into that. I'm going to talk about it in 1 second. But first, let me finish talking about Mike Budenholzer and his termination with the Phoenix Suns, and why I'm kind of getting a bit annoyed with the firing system with these head coaches in the NBA especially. The NFL, no, I can't really say them, but in the NBA, we know it is a players' league. It's kind of getting that way with NFL players, but for the most part, the owners still have control of their team for the most part. In the NBA, the owners, they're going pretty much with where, and again, I'm not even tripping on it, they know where their bread is buttered. The owners in the NBA, they show you now it's a players' league. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Taylor Jenkins was fired. There's been different reports on why he was fired by the Memphis Grizzlies, but there's one report that nobody wants to say out loud on TV in the mainstream media, is that Ja Morant was frustrated with Taylor Jenkins and his offensive, play his style, his offense. And he really wasn't a part of it like he should be. The ball was taken out of his hands. And now he's gone. Mike Malone, it's been said now that the smoke has kind of cleared a little bit. After that firing, Mike Malone wasn't liked anymore. They were sick of him. The players were tired of him. The general manager was tired of him. They didn't get along. These are the things that were said on why he was fired. And now today, this one is the one that kind of pissed me off. Mike Budenholzer fired after going with a 11th place finish in the Western Conference. 36-46 was the record. So the head coach is fired. He's one and done after missing the playoffs. 36-46 record. The Suns fired Mike Budenholzer. But my problem with that was the report that I saw about 15-20 minutes after the fact that it was reported that he had been fired. The Suns part ways with Budenholzer, and it says Coach Bud and Book had friction. Budenholzer's contentious relationship with Devin Booker was a major issue. That's according to The Athletic. That's what pissed me off. What a surprise. A player, a superstar, didn't like the head coach. What a surprise. Coach Bud and Book had friction. Budenholzer's contentious relationship with Devin Booker was a major issue. That's according to The Athletic. Damn. So you mean to tell me, and I'm okay with Budenholzer getting fired one and done. If he ain't a good coach, get rid of him. If the players, the whole team isn't buying in, the staff, if other people, if we can show it on film, if it doesn't add up and it looks like you're really not cut out for this job, I'm okay with this termination. However, if that's not the case, why is this dude being fired after one season? He's one and done. Like, seriously? You're telling me that he's a bad coach? If that's the case, okay. I'm okay with that. But if you're telling me you fired him because Booker didn't like him, so we fired his ass. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes good sense. Booker didn't like him, so you fired his ass. Man, I'm about getting sick and tired of hearing how a superstar and that head coach didn't really see eye to eye, and they go with the superstar and get rid of the head coach. The players and the owners, ownership, front office, and the players, the top and the very bottom, they're not being, well, I don't mean to say the very bottom. They make these people a lot of damn money. I get all of that, and I get why they understand or why they want to go with the players. They want to keep, but it's not that they care about the players. It's that they want the players to be there for that team to make them a whole lot of money like they do. They make them a whole bunch of money. And they know where their bread is buttered. And I respect the fact that they understand that and they try to be loyal to these players and keep them around and make all of this money, because it's more of that than the loyalty, or just being fair. But there's still an issue if it's only because of that. If Budenholzer is not a good coach, okay. But I think this is the second time he's been booted because him and a superstar didn't get along. Giannis got rid of his ass in Milwaukee too, just a few years ago. Don't forget that. And he won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis has one title, one ring. Budenholzer was his coach. But they say there was friction there. He kind of got rid of him. And now here we are in Phoenix. Budenholzer has another shot. One season. Now, I'm not telling you that, look, man, the Phoenix Suns have KD, Booker, Bradley Beal. They should be in the playoffs. I'm not telling you that he didn't do a bad job. I'm just saying, damn, he just got there. He just got there. Can we at least put together a roster that he's more suitable with coaching first? Maybe this personnel doesn't work for him. Again, if he's doing a bad job, okay, cool. But if it's just because Devin Booker didn't like him, or they had friction, they didn't get along, they didn't see eye to eye, that's not, to me, that's not a good enough reason to say you're fired. Just my 2 cents. And I mean, again, I know it doesn't mean much to anyone, but that's just my opinion. Which one did you fire him for? Because he didn't do a good job in his one season as a head coach, and he's got all-stars on his team, even though all of these people were injured in and out of the lineup. Kevin Durant's always getting hurt these days. Nobody wants to talk about that, but he does. Did you fire him because he didn't do a good job, or did you fire him because Booker didn't like his ass? I have a problem with it if it's the latter. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Hey, what's up to everybody that's in the building here saying what's up? I appreciate that. I can't see that, man. I got that too far away. But hey, what's up to you? He said what's up and hope this ain't pre-recorded. No, I'm live right now, bro. I'm live right now. Live right now. I got Mr. Butterwolf. He's in the building saying Laker gang. He also comments again and says Laker gang or die. I'm YouTube live right now and on Podbean. The Great Debate Show is available wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or you can just come right here to YouTube and you can subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you'll be notified when I'm here right now talking my shit. And I'm talking shit right now about the Phoenix Suns. I don't appreciate them firing Budenholzer if it's only because Devin Booker didn't like him. That's not a good enough reason. Now, I understand that we all didn't like, who was it, the Houston Texans general manager, Houston Texans owner that came out some years back and said that you got a bunch of inmates trying to take over the asylum. I get it. That was wrong. I get it. These inmates make them people a lot of damn money. I get it. But when you see things like this, if they fired him because the superstar didn't like him, like if Giannis got that man fired, if Booker just got this man fired, if Ja Morant just got Taylor Jenkins fired, all of the players were like, we're sick of Mike Malone, so they pretty much got him. That's a little different. It's not one superstar. But I have an issue if just this one superstar had friction with the head coach and you think that's good enough terms to terminate this guy after one season. So we know Devin Booker's not getting traded. You know, they could toss this whole thing up. KD could be gone. Bradley Beal's definitely going to be gone if they can move him. KD, they kind of don't want to trade, but KD probably wants to be traded. I don't know. Who cares? He's not going to win anywhere he goes unless he is fortunate enough to land in free agency on a team or demand a trade to go to a team like he did in 2017, 2018. Just saying. That's all Durant will be known for, remembered for. He was a good player, but he went over there to the Warriors, the 73-9 Warriors. The previous year, they were 73-9. He joined that team and won 2 rings. And went back to the same old thing, trying to be the leader of his team, and he never done anything, made anybody around him better, never led or carried a team deep into the playoffs. He's never done any of that. The one time he went to the finals, Russell Westbrook and James Harden was also on that OKC Thunder team. Don't forget that. But I'm going in a whole nother, I'm not trying to get off subject here talking about Durant. But what I'm saying is, Budenholzer, yes, he had those players on his roster, but they weren't available all the time. Why did you really fire him because he was a terrible coach, or did you fire him because Booker didn't like him? And if it's the latter, that's not a good look. This has to stop at some point in the NBA. I know what the Texans owner said was wrong, but the more we see things like this happen is the more we start to see where the hell the Texans owner was coming from when he said that. How many of these inmates are you going to let run the asylum? I mean, was Budenholzer that bad to fire him after 1 year? Make the trades and, do the things that you're going to do this offseason and give him another chance to come back in and work with that roster if you can upgrade that roster or whatever. Or did you think this roster was good enough to do what? To go to the NBA Finals and he didn't even get you to the playoffs, so he's fired? How good? What did you expect from that team? That's all I ask, and that's all I wonder. At some point, these teams are going to have to stop picking the player over the coach. If you don't have reason for termination, what was the reason? How bad was he? I'm a Memphis Grizzlies fan, and I'm telling you right now, Taylor Jenkins wasn't that bad. I mean, 6 seasons, the most winningest coach in our franchise history. Same thing for Mike Malone with the Nuggets. And he wasn't Mike Malone, like cursing and fussing all the time, angry, riding his players really hard. That wasn't really him. But he had an offense that saved Ja's minutes, kept him healthy, and it took the ball out of his hand because he was so ball dominant. And he is doing that again now that Taylor Jenkins is fired, which should tell everyone that that's pretty much probably what got him fired, even though there's different reports out there. But you know they go with the player, with the superstar. Shout out to Jokic for admitting that the Nuggets came to him first, and he, understood, and so he approved it. He came out and let it be known. I appreciate that. LeBron them be lying when they say, oh, I didn't know Luka was coming. I didn't know. The Lakers asked him and talked to him too. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that the superstar's opinion decides their decision, but they definitely inform them about it and let them know the direction that they're going in. And I'm okay with Budenholzer getting fired if he did a bad job in one season as the Suns head coach. I guess I'm okay with the one and done. If you can pinpoint to me how bad he was, then I'm fine with it, because he is kind of getting jumped around here. But they said Giannis kind of got tired of him too. But he won a championship. So that's why I question this. Did you fire him because he's a bad coach, a former NBA champion, a championship coach back in 2021 with the Bucks? Or did you fire him just because Booker didn't like his ass? I have a problem with that if that's what it is. 4 Rings is in the building. What's up with you? Hope all is well. He says, who you got winning the play-ins? Well, man, I kind of think my Grizzlies are going to be at 8. And they'll be eliminated in the first round because they haven't beat OKC all season long. And then I think that the Rockets are locked in at 2. I think the Warriors will be locked in at 7 as well, because the Grizzlies have to go to Golden State tomorrow, and they haven't been good in California this season at all. I don't see any difference. Now, I did see a lineup that the Grizzlies put together yesterday against the Mavericks, even though that game, a lot of starters didn't play and all, but it did look faster, a lot of more youth, a lot of more energy, a lot of more urgency. I don't know. Maybe this interim head coach is on to something if he can put this in the first round a little bit more, because it's something that I'm not used to seeing, that lineup that he was using. But anyway, that's because Ja and all those guys didn't play. But I'll say I think that the Rockets and the Warriors will play. The Warriors will stay at 7. And the Warriors will give the Rockets a run for their money, because nobody really trusts the Rockets. They don't even trust OKC, and they won like 65 games. So I hope that answered your question. Now, as far as the East, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. The Hawks looks like they're going to be 8. I don't think they can give Cleveland a run for their money. I doubt it. And then at 7, it would probably be Orlando, but they would have to play Boston first, so who cares? It really wouldn't matter. I think it's still going to end up coming down to the way we think it is if we hit the fast-forward button. I think we will still see Celtics Lakers or Celtics OKC. I would love for Cleveland to upset Boston, because I like their team. And they're just as good at shooting threes as Boston is. But yeah, when Boston are on, when they're on point, everybody's shooting, and I don't see them losing 4 games in a series. They may be off 1 game or 2 games, but I don't see them being out 4 games. So the Celtics are probably still going to win the championship, and none of this stuff matters. But we'll see. We'll see. That's what I got for the play-in. I don't think Dallas will get in. Sacramento may actually win that. And on that 9 and 10 game. But I guess Memphis will still be 8, I guess. But again, they're not a playoff team. Not really. When they play the good teams, they just don't really They'll score points with you, but they don't stop you enough. The defense is really gone from sugar to shit. So you know what? Maybe the Kings are the 8th seed. I guess I should have just said I don't know, man. That's probably how I should have answered it. Okay, so I wanted to talk about Budenholzer getting fired, and I wanted to talk about David Griffin. He's out with the Pelicans. The main thing I want to talk about is what's that in there in the description right now that you're looking at? Louis Riddick. Well, I didn't get to type his name in. I ran out of room. But Louis Riddick, this is where this is coming from if you're reading it like Cam Ward, the next Patrick Mahomes. What the hell is wrong with this great debate show, dude? No, calm down. This is not me saying it. This is Louis Riddick. But the reason why I'm saying it is because I got to remind you, Louis Riddick, who made these comments, I believe, I guess earlier today, saying that Cam Ward, and again, he's saying that he has a playing style like Mahomes. Louis Riddick compares Cam Ward's playing style to Patrick Mahomes. Do you agree or disagree with that? How much of Cam Ward did you watch during his days in Miami or wherever it was before he transferred to Miami? How are you watching Cam Ward? Did you watch him enough to be able to answer that question? And again, the only reason why we're even, I guess, making this a debate, because we kind of hold Louis Riddick credible. Why is that, Jarvis? Oh, that's easy. Because, you know, Louis Riddick is one of the only scouts, one of the only analysts at ESPN. And he had kind of just gotten there, too. He used to be a former scout and director of personnel with Washington when they were still the Redskins, with the Eagles some years back, over a decade ago. And now for the past, like, maybe 9 years, he's been at ESPN. He is the only one who said, watch out for this Patrick Mahomes guy at Texas Tech. He's something special. He's going to be something special. He's the only one that said that shit. Let's be honest. Everybody said Mitchell Trubisky and Deshaun Watson were the top quarterbacks in the 2017 draft. Mitchell Trubisky, I don't think is in the league anymore. And if he is, he's backups or third string. And he's backup. And who's the other guy? Deshaun Watson. Well, we know what's been going on with him for the past 4 or 5 seasons. We thought that he was going to be who they thought he was in the 2017 draft, leading up to the draft. But anyway, Louis Riddick is a little bit credible because he's the only person that I can recall that was like, watch out for this Patrick Mahomes guy from Texas Tech. So for him to say now in this draft here coming up that Cam Ward's playing style compares to Patrick Mahomes, you may want to take heed to it a little bit before you just say, he needs to be drug tested, because he knew Patrick Mahomes was going to be Patrick Mahomes before anybody else did. I mean, except for Andy Reid and the Chiefs front office. So I just wonder, how do you feel about that? Do you hold him credible by saying that, by him comparing Cam Ward's playing style to Patrick Mahomes? When you look at the film, yeah, he does make some throws, some unorthodox things that he does, how he gets away, from pressure and, in the middle of duress. I could say that he could see that a little bit, but I also see other players too in him, like Steve McNair. The ability to still make a throw when he's compromised in the pocket, not having to move out of the pocket, and with little leg strength, just off the flick of the wrist. Steve McNair was strong. He had a strong arm. He was tough. He was durable. I see some of these things with him, certain highlights. I'm like, And maybe it's because the Titans are going to draft him at number 1, where I'm like, yeah, he kind of could be their next Steve McNair. But I've heard other comparisons like Ben Roethlisberger, believe it or not, Sam Darnold. So there's other comparisons that I've heard with Cam Ward. But how do you feel about Louis Riddick comparing Cam Ward, his playing style, to Patrick Mahomes? Again, Riddick is the only one that I can recall at that ESPN network that was saying, look out for Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech. He's going to be special. Nobody knew that or was saying that until we saw he was special. So I just wonder, how much do you want to listen to Louis Riddick over there at ESPN? He did used to scout players. He was a part of the scout team, and director of pro personnel back in the day. I want to say in the early 10s. He was doing this with the Eagles and the Washington when they were still the Redskins. So take that with a grain of salt or whatever, if you will. But I just thought I would talk about that. Shout out to everybody that was in here, for me as I was live here. I don't really have much more. I have a mock draft 3.0. It's up right now on the channel. If you would, check that out under the live section on the Great Debate Show channel on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube. Next episode is later tonight, where me and Terrence Smith will recap Monday Night Raw. And we'll also do a little black couch booking, talking about some of the things that we think is a need to discuss as black men watching wrestling, still watching wrestling and WWE in general, as we discuss Booker T and Swerve Strickland's beef that I do not like at all. And I'll explain why tonight. But yeah, that's it for me. That's all I have. Budenholzer fired from the Suns, one and done. Do you agree with that? If he's a bad coach, I do. But if it's just because Devin Booker didn't like his ass, I got a problem with that. David Griffin with the Pelicans, he's out. That's kind of understandable. He drafted Zion Williamson, and they're not getting a lot out of him these days. It's been 6 years. They still hadn't got much. 5 or 6 years. They hadn't got much. He looks like he will be phenomenal, but he's just not phenomenal on the floor. No, he's not on the floor enough to be phenomenal. He's probably going to be a New York Knick. Giannis or Zion Williamson is going to get traded to the Knicks. Remember I said it. David Griffin probably would have did it. They might have fired him a little too soon, because David Griffin also fired Anthony Davis. Traded Anthony Davis to the Lakers, and then they won a championship in 2020. So after 6 years, he's done. They were like 209 and 261 under his tutelage. So that's it for him. Who else is going to be next on the list? The NBA season is officially over. Who's next on the list? Philly is going to stick with Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey. That's all been said. But who else is going to be out in the NBA on a Black Monday? So far, 2. An executive VP and a head coach. One and done. Because he and Booker had friction. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. At some point, man, can we go by the coaching? And if Budenholzer can't coach, let's stop tossing his ass. Stop hiring his ass. That's just it. But I find it hard to believe, because he just was an NBA champion head coach 4 years ago. He won the championship coaching the Milwaukee Bucks. That tells me it was the latter. Not because he was a bad coach, but because Booker didn't like his ass. And that's what I kind of don't like, because this is beginning to go on a little too damn much. That's all I've got. It's the Great Debate Show. Hope you've enjoyed. Monday Night Raw recap again tonight, me and Terrence Smith. And the mock draft 3.0 is already up. Go into the live section under the Great Debate Show channel and find that right now from earlier this morning. That's all I got until we yeet again. Y'all be safe out there. Peace.